everyone. I have been talking about what would the world be like if Dance Moms never happened. And I didn't mean that to be, you know, oh, these girls would be nothing now, blah, 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 blah. That's not what it meant. I mean, so many things would have been different. The producers that worked on the show Dance Moms. I know one producer, Brian Stinson. He is credited with creating the show, even though he had never been to a dance competition in his life before the first one with me. But anyway, this is not negative. This is just a what if. So Dance Moms, then Dance Moms Miami, Abby's Ultimate Dance Competition, some twin show they did somewhere that I didn't even know anything about. Asia had a show. Then Abby's Studio Rescue. And there were a couple other things that they tried to do or did do, but they never aired, whatever. Would the show have continued for 8 seasons had I never been on it? You all know that I was not on the show, right? I was just an on-camera choreographer. So as I was choreographing a routine, and yes, I did choreograph the routines, when they caught me on camera, if I was in a shot, if the mothers were arguing and I walked past them, it just meant that it was okay that I was there. I wasn't gonna sue anyone because they caught me on camera, okay? So I don't know what's going outside in the city tonight, but it's a little crazy. Maybe they know I'm talking about Dance Moms. And with all those shows come a lot of jobs. The crafty people that buy the peanut butter crackers and the cheese sticks and the, you know, fruit snacks. And what about the catering companies that we used on location or here in Los Angeles or in Pittsburgh? What about all the lighting people? Andy, one of my dear friends, lighting guy. The cameramen who wanted to catch me doing crazy psycho things or saying something, but yet part of them really didn't want that to happen. And they were told by producers, go in there and get that shot, go into her dressing room, go into her bedroom, go into her hotel room and get that shot, get that shot, get that shot. I don't think they really wanted to do that. I don't think that was in their professionalism, in their world, but they were working, they had to do it. Some of them were probably evil on the inside and wanted to get that shot. I don't know if they got a bonus for getting a shot for no reason. There were other jobs too. I mean, in Pittsburgh, I had to have some of my staff stay and work with the kids or come in early in the day and work with the kids when they should have been at school. There were so many bus drivers, our security, you know, and I'm getting attacked and he's nowhere. I don't know where he is, but he was a nice guy, but you know, it should have been stopped. And there were things, you know, when you cross the line, when you say things that are very hurtful and the mother's just driving you, the producers keep sending them back in and they're just gnawing at you, taunting you. Come on, say something, like just constant. Then you say something and then it's, oh, well, why'd you send them in, dummy? Why didn't you stop them? And I feel like the cameraman or the producers, definitely the producers, should have come in and said, okay, stop. This is getting too heated. Everybody take a break. Let's get Abby a Diet Coke and we're going to pick it up in 5 minutes. Like that should have happened a lot and it never did. And I hate that. There were also psychiatrists, psychologists that when there was a big fight, when something happened, when someone was upset, you had to go and talk to them, whether it was on the phone, whether they were there in person, whatever. You had to talk to them and you talked it out and it was all okay and nobody was going to sue anybody and blah, blah, blah. Think of the television commercials that were on during the show. What about the network? What about the executives at the network who made money because of Dance Moms? They sold the show to how many other countries? I know of 134 countries, but there could have been more that I was never made aware of. I asked for a list. I used to ask the network for a list. over and over. I need a list of all the countries because we wanted to go to the countries. We wanted to visit the countries. I wanted to do shout outs to those countries. Nope. Couldn't get that information. No way. And then what about my voice? So those of you that are watching this right now in another country, often my voice was dubbed. And the guy that dubbed my voice is really good looking. He's really cute and he's really nice and kind. We might have been engaged for a hot moment back there in the day. Anyway, he's doing well. He's fabulous. But he used to dub my voice in all these other languages for other countries. And that was funny, to be in another country and see yourself on TV speaking and it's not your voice. So that happened. Now let me explain that. So in other countries, shows like So You Think You Can Dance and Dancing with the Stars, they have their own show. So in the UK, you have Strictly Come Dancing, or there's like the Ballroom Blitz, or all these different shows. And it's Dancing with the Stars. However, our show, Dance Moms, was just our show. And we were everywhere. It was just us. There wasn't a Dance Moms Australia and a Dance Moms, oh, well, wait a minute. There tried to be a Dance Moms. That's another spinoff I forgot about. Yep. This is a rough story. So we were all in London. We were there doing our own thing on our own dime, paid our own expenses. And of course, you know, every single thing we make, I'm giving 50% to the moms. They wanted me to go to film something with this woman that was going to be the Dance Mum, M-U-M. She was me over there. Well, okay, fine. It was a little cameo, in and out, say hello. Next thing I know, hair, makeup, wardrobe, 17 hours I was there. 17 hours. Oh, and it gets better. So I was there on a visa to work. So I paid all this money, thousands of dollars, so that I could go to the UK and work, because that's the proper way. That's what you do. So I did that, but I didn't have a visa to film there. So they sent me out of the country to Germany. They sent me, now I'm there on vacation with a working vacation, but still fun. I had a friend there with me. We had security with us. We had all our trip like organized, right? So this was the fun day. This was the double-decker bus going all around to the places, and Big Ben and the London Bridge, you know, the falling down, all of that. That was our first time there, first time doing that with the kids. I had to leave and go to Germany. I had to get on a plane, fly to Germany, sit in the airport until another visa was prepared so that I could enter the country again, back into London with the correct visa. Could you even wrap your head around doing that? And they're all having fun and fabulous and eating and this and that. And I'm sitting in an airport in Germany where I cannot understand one sign or one thing on the menu. It was awful. And you've all seen me in a bad mood. And you've seen me like at my wit's end, ready to crack. Imagine me alone in Germany sitting there. You know what? I might not have been alone. I think they sent somebody. Oh, that's even better. They sent someone to babysit me to make sure that I got on the plane and I left and I went to Germany, and I actually came back because I was livid. I don't like to swear on these things, but I was pissed. I was so angry that I did this. So yeah, then I shot for 17 hours. Makeup. And then they did these interviews with me, and I literally was climbing the walls. It was insane. And the producer, you know, who we've come a long way, baby, but he was there with me. He flew over to London and he was sitting there with me, I think. It was, or he was on the phone, something. I don't know. All I know is that I was paying for myself to be on vacation in London and do some events. And I ended up filming. Oh, gets even better. So not only is Dance Moms getting to air, I'm now making this little cameo, which turned into 17 hours of filming. But get this, they flipped the whole show, and I'm now the premiere episode. So they're using me to promote somebody else's show that I'm not making a dime out of. And I think my attorney, he got got my airfare back and stuff, but you never get that time in your life back. You never get those memories with the kids, seeing things for the first time, walking into Harrods department store for the very first time. I mean, that's amazing. So anyway, it worked out. We did it. And I've been back many times since. A lot of people had jobs, whether they liked them, whether they didn't. How about my right hand? How about Gianna? She was a senior in college right about the time the show started. She graduated in May, April, May, from college. And as a marketing major, I believe that's her major, marketing. But I know she would sit in her classrooms at school and just tap her feet underneath the desk and make up combinations. She was there. So most kids graduate from college and they go off to dance professionally or to do whatever their career is, and they come back around the holidays and they jump into class and this, that, and the other thing. But she never left. So when she graduated from high school, she started working at the studio, and then she was there in Pittsburgh. It was a local university. So she was there, and then she continued to work all 4 years. And then the next thing you know, we started doing this show, and I was like, come on. And I remember the network trying to get rid of her, and I would not have it. I put my foot down, and I knew the girl that they wanted to use, who is also a professional dancer now here in LA. She's very successful. But anyway, no, it's just, you know, being a professional dancer and being a professional choreographer are two different things. And being a teacher is one thing. You can be an amazing dancer, but you're not always an amazing teacher. You can be a brilliant performer on stage, brilliant. But when I ask you to come up with, you know, 4 poses, 8 counts, 2 counts each, pose, go, go, go. And you just like stand there like you can't think of anything. So that's why you need someone that's a choreographer. And you also need someone that you trust implicitly. And Gianna's mom and dad were there at the studio. They never butt in. They never disagreed with anything that I did or said. Maybe they did at home, but they didn't come in and yell at me about it. And her dad was a musician. He was in a band, so he knew the industry. He knew, you know, music, and that's why Gianna's so on the ball with the music. We just gelled. You know, you have to work with people that you like and that you respect. When I'm stirring the pot and when I'm talking to a mom and screaming and yelling starts, somebody has to be responsible to keep the routine going, to keep moving the dance forward, to keep counting 5, 6, 7, 8, to keep yelling at the kids. I needed to trust someone that would do that, that had my back. Because other girls, and believe me, there were some of them on the show, they wanted to be on camera. Some guys too. They weren't there so much as to make sure the kids look good, but they wanted to look good, and they wanted to prance in front of that camera back and forth. And Gianna never did that. She could have cared less if the camera ever even went on her. She needed to get the job done because she knew what was important. And what was important was sitting in that audience, putting something out on that stage that was as good as the numbers she used to be in when she was dancing for me. Solos that were as good as her solos, which I had 6 months to work on. You know, a private every week for 6 months or even every other week. That's a lot of time to put into a solo, to get it out there, to have perfection. And we had 2-3 days. So I needed someone that I could trust to do their job. And the other thing about choreographing professionally is you can't get bent out of shape. You know, you can't get upset if someone doesn't like a number, if somebody doesn't like this or that. So I'd go off and I'm fighting with a mom and we're outside screaming and blah, 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 blah. And I come back in and I'm like, I don't like that step because I'm in a bad mood and I'm crazy. I don't like that step. Do that again. Let's fix that. No eye roll, no shoulder shrug, nothing. Just, okay, what do you want to see there instead? And that was it. I don't like the beginning. Let's fix that beginning. Okay. And many times she had to get down on the floor. And so we could figure it out because I wasn't getting down on the floor. So I knew what I wanted in my head and she had no clue. So she would get down and I would talk her through it, and we'd come up with it, and then the kid would learn it. And then there were so many other times where we would both see a child do something and it would remind us of something in the past, something that would trigger a memory. We would both remember it at the same time and just like look at each other and giggle. And then there was the whole speaking in tongue, not speaking in tongue, but speaking in eyeball. Yes, where you literally have to give eyes across the room and she would know exactly what I was thinking. So it would have never worked with somebody outside, some professional that they wanted to bring in. Believe me, they tried that. Have to understand that those kids never auditioned to be dancers on a dance show on television. They never did that. They were just cute little girls that came in and sat next to their mommies. And suddenly they found themselves in the midst of this chaos and this screaming and yelling, which sometimes went on in my studio, but I kept it from them, or I, moved it out of the room. I don't know. What if I said no? What if I didn't want to be on the show? Would it have gone 8 seasons? What show would have been on? Maybe they would have done the show in California with a studio out here. They had looked at studios out here. Maybe that would have happened. And maybe, just maybe, you all would have fallen in love with a completely different group of children. And I would be back in Pittsburgh teaching at my studio till this day. Actually, that's not true, because I had planned to semi-retire at the age of 45. I know that sounds young, but remember, I started teaching at 14, started a dance company competing at 14. It was my life. It wasn't just a job. So at 45, I wanted to go with my mother to our home in Florida, teach for 2 studios down there, and go back and forth to Pittsburgh and teach in my studio for a week. Every 6 weeks, I would go back and teach for a week. And my mom would be in Florida with baby, and we would have quality time together. We would go to the movies, and we would go to dinner, and we would talk about things and remember things. That's what's upsetting. It's upsetting that the last years of my mother's life were turmoil. That's what killed her. It wasn't the colon cancer. It was the world, the newspaper articles, the TV articles talking about me and how vicious and how horrible I was. When she knew what I accomplished in my life, and she knew how much I loved children and seeing them progress and seeing them grow and seeing them shine. Yes. And Broadway Baby, the final years of her life, when I should have had her in my arms, when she should have been curled up in bed next to me, she was stuck with my mom. I remember in the snow in Pittsburgh, my mom having to climb down those steps and open the door to let baby out, and then she wouldn't come back in. She wanted to play in the snow, and my mother standing there freezing at 85 years old. It was bad. And where was I? I was on a bus trip with kids that weren't my own, with a bunch of people, producers trying to catch me at my worst, producers trying to make the mothers freak me out and make me say horrible, rotten things. Or they didn't make me say them, but stir the pot and get everybody riled up. That's what I was doing all those weekends when I could have been at home. And money comes and money goes. I know how to make money. I know how to spend money. I know how to lose money. So people always say, well, if there wasn't a show, you'd still be back in Pittsburgh and you'd be bankrupt and da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, I would have. I would. But maybe I wouldn't have had cancer. Maybe I wouldn't have gone to prison. Maybe I wouldn't have ended up in a wheelchair. A lot of maybes. A lot of things would have been different had it not been for the TV show. So, what if Dance Moms never was? The No Dance Moms Miami, Dance Moms, No Abby's Ultimate Dance Competition. Think of the kids that came out of that show. Yep. All those other spinoffs that a lot of people made money on. So anyway, I did, but I pay it all to Uncle Sam. You kids don't understand that, but I don't have write-offs like husbands and kids that your taxes get lower and lower. Mine just keep getting higher and higher. Anyway, that's for another day. And thank you very much for watching.